woke up that day, I was actually really excited because it was supposed to be like a really good day because I had picked out my own clothes, and for someone who was 7, that was a big deal. And later that day, when we were like gonna go out to recess, Mrs. Clements used to have us give us each a turn to hold her walkie-talkie while we walked out, and it was my day. So I was so excited. But I remember getting to school and being at morning meeting, and this is kind of when it all unfolded. So we were all in a circle, like saying like good morning and stuff, waiting for the loudspeaker. And then I guess it just happened, like the gunshots. But I just remember someone saying like cubbies, and like we all just like ran to the cubbies. I remember like someone knocked over a chair or something because like we were all moving so quickly. I was like wedged into the cubbies, and our door was like right there, and then the cubbies were like pressed up on the other side of the door because there was like a little wall. And so like from the door, you couldn't really see the cubbies until you walked fully into the classroom. I remember all of us being really quiet, but like really loud at the same time. Like, cause we were all sobbing, and it was just like so loud, but we were trying so hard to be quiet. And I remember we could hear the footsteps of the firemen on the roof, and it freaked us out so badly. Because like in our mind, we didn't really know what was going on. We kind of just figured like, oh no, like someone else is out to get us, like on the roof. All of that was over the loudspeaker too. So we could hear everything going on. The reason the loudspeaker was on is because Mrs. Hawksprung was trying to warn us, but then she got shot. And so we just kind of heard more gunshots, obviously. We heard all the loud noises and stuff, and like the static of the speaker. I remember the static of the speaker really well. There was 2 doors. One was the one next to the cubbies, like I said, and then one was like across the classroom that connected to another classroom. And I just remember being so afraid of that other door that maybe like he would come in through that other classroom and go into our room. Mrs. Clements dragged over a desk, and she was trying to read to us with a book, and like she was holding it up, but her hands were just like shaking a lot, and so it was like really hard to just like stay calm. And I remember her calling 911, and I remember her going out into the hallway and pulling 2 first graders from the hallway. We even like pulled over like the stuffed animals that we had, because we had like a little farm for our stuffed animals, and we were trying to like calm each other down. I don't know how long it was, but I remember when the police finally knocked on the door, we all just like screamed no. Like I didn't even process what was going on. I just remember myself screaming no, and like so many other people just being like, no, please, like don't open the door. And when they finally opened the door, the police came and got us, and they told us to line up and put our hands on the person in front of us shoulders and close our eyes, and then they let us out of the building. And I know a few of my friends didn't close their eyes, and like they're still so scarred because they saw like their classmates, I guess. And we didn't know if the guy was still alive. We didn't know if he was still roaming the halls. I was like, where's my sister? Where's my sister? And I would go up to every single policeman, and I was sobbing on them, and I was just like falling all over them, being like, where is my sister? Do you know if my sister's alive? Like, please help me find my sister. And I remember I actually met up with my my friend who's still my best friend then, who's still my best friend now. And then we went off and we finally found my sister in her classroom full of kindergartners with her teacher. And I remember just like finding her and my best friend was like the most relieved I've ever been in my entire life. I remember giving her the biggest hug. I remember my mom was at the grocery store, so she like didn't get there till like the very end, and I was like, where's my mom? Like, why is my mom not here? It was just a whole lot of anxiety that I had never felt as a 7-year-old. I had hardly even felt sadness. Everything was just different now. Like everything was just sad and scary, and like it kind of like made us realize like the world's not like all sunshine and rainbows, I guess. Like it's not everything our childhood had been up to that far. Even though it was 8 years ago, like that doesn't make it any better. And the fact that it was 8 years ago and still very little has changed is so unacceptable. And the thing about like this trauma, and specifically because we were so young, you don't really grow away from it, you kind of grow around it. As you grow up, it like moves with you. And so like I remember like a couple years ago I was in middle school, and so during middle school I had to go through all of that all over again because my mind is maturing and I'm growing up. I had to just like kind of realize like what had happened to me and like all these things, and like I have PTSD from the shooting, you know, like I have a lot of my anxiety started from 12-14. Like that's where a lot of bad emotions came from. And there's a lot of survivor's guilt too. Just like thinking like somehow as like a 7-year-old I was supposed to do something. Like obviously like I know I couldn't have, but that doesn't change the fact that I felt like I should have been able to. Or like maybe like I didn't deserve some of the pity that was given to me because I didn't lose anyone myself, or I wasn't shot myself. For them to say like that this just didn't happen, for it to be a hoax, for them to be paid actors or something, it's so invalidating. It is incredibly invalidating to everything our community has gone through, to everything other communities have gone through. I can't give you proof except for my trauma, except for like the letters people wrote to us, except for like the fact that I actually went to that school, you know? I can't even express how angry, how emotional that makes me. He understands what losing a child is like, and he understands the amount of trauma and like pain that comes behind losing a child. So I think for him to like be able to connect to that is so like powerful, because he can make a difference. And I think a big thing I would tell him is just not give up on us, you know, not give up on the idea of like you can't change, because like if he pushes hard enough and if we continue to fight long enough and hard enough, things will change.